Welcome back to the deep dive. So today we're going to shift gears a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Usually when we talk about a fantasy universe, especially, Percy Jack, we always focus on the cool stuff.
Right. The
flashy thing. Riptide turning from a pen into a sword, or riding a Pegasus, or that feeling of fighting a Minotaur on a bridge.
Which are all, they're valid points of interest. That's what gets you in the door.
Exactly. It's the hook. But I was going through this huge stack of notes on the lore, and it just hit me. We're missing the forest for the trees. The real central theme of this whole universe, it isn't the magic.
Okay.
It's not even really heroism when you get down to it. It's death.
That is a heavy pivot to start us off with, but you're absolutely right. The stakes in Riordan's world are so incredibly high precisely because mortality is the defining trait of our main characters.
Right, and that's what I really want to unpack today. We know these kids fight like superheroes, but, inevitably some of them lose. People die in these. A lot of people. So the big question, and I guess the mission for this deep dive, is to figure out, where do they go? We're going to try to map out the geography of the underworld, figure out who's actually calling the shots down there, and then talk about what might just be the strangest reward system in all of fiction.
It's a really fascinating case study in cosmic justice. If you strip away all the monsters in the quest, what you're left with is a very, very intricate bureaucracy.
Right.
And it's not a binary system like we often see in, Western culture.
Right.
It isn't just heaven or hell. It's a spectrum. It's full of nuance.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, some parts of it are absolutely terrifying.
And other parts are described as, and I'm actually quoting here, Disneyland meets Las Vegas, which, depending on your personality, might also be terrifying.
That's a very fair point.
But before we can get to the rainbow grass and the VIP lounges, we have to start at the biology.
Right.
Because being a demigod, it sounds so cool on paper, but when you really look at the mechanics, it feels like a raw deal.
It's a tragedy that's written directly into their DNA. It really is.
So help me get my head around this. We call them half-blood. One parent is a god, one is a mortal. Physically, they just look like regular teenagers, right?
Yeah.
They get acne, they trip over their own feet. But inside,
it's a complete contradiction. They have ichor flowing in their veins. That's the golden blood of the gods.
Okay.
And that gives them their enhanced reflexes, their strength, that sort of ADHD battle readiness that's talked about.
Yeah.
But, and this is the absolute crucial distinction, they possess mortal souls.
So the engine is divine, but the driver is human. Is that a good way to put it?
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think of it like putting a Formula One engine inside, a regular sedan.
Okay.
The car can go incredibly fast. It can do things other cars just can't. But the chassis isn't built to last forever. They are not immortal. They get sick, they age, and they can be killed.
And here's the irony that really stuck with me from the reading. Because they have that Formula One engine, that godly durability, you'd think they should live longer than us, right?
Theoretically.
They can take a punch from a giant. They should be living to be like 120.
In theory, yes. They have the potential for a really robust extended lifespan. But statistically, they are lucky if they graduate high school.
And this is where the scent comes in. This part, actually, it really creeped me out.
It is deeply unsettling. It turns the most natural process of growing up into a literal death sentence.
Explain how that works, because usually puberty is just, awkward. Here, it's lethal.
In the Riordan verse, as a demigod starts to mature, their powers begin to really manifest. But it's not just the powers. Their actual biological chemistry change. They start emitting this mystical scent.
A scent.
A scent. Now, humans like us, we can't smell it. But to a monster, that scent it's distinct. It smells like power. It smells like prey.
So the stronger you are.
The stronger your scent.
Exactly.
If you're a child of let's say a minor god, maybe you smell like a faint perfume. You might just slip under the radar.
Yeah.
But if you are a child of one of the big three, Zeus, Poseidon, or Hades, you are essentially walking around with a giant invisible megaphone screaming, "I am here!"
Yeah.
You smell like a 5-course banquet to every single monster within a 100-mile radius.
That is horrifying. It's just a straight-up predator-prey mechanic. The moment you start to lose your childhood innocence and become an adult, the entire world literally tries.
It's a hyper-literal metaphor for the dangers of adolescence. The world becomes hostile the moment you start to discover your own power.
Wow.
And that's why Camp Half-Blood exists. It's not just a fun summer camp. It's a wildlife preserve. It's the only place where that scent is masked.
Okay, so let's play this out. You're a demigod. You didn't make it to camp. You tried to go to a regular shopping mall. Cyclops smelled your lunch, and you didn't make it. You die. The body, a bot, right?
Correct. When a demigod dies, there's no magical explosion.
Yeah.
Not usually. They leave behind a corpse, just like any human would.
Right.
But that mortal soul we talked about, it separates. And because of that divine connection, it doesn't just dissipate into the ether. It has a very, very specific appointment to keep.
Welcome to the Underworld. Now, I think most people, when they hear the Underworld, they immediately picture, the Christian hell, fire, brimstone, devils with pitchforks poking you for eternity.
Mm-hmm.
But the Greek version that's described in these books feels so different. It feels administrative.
It is incredibly bureaucratic. It's less Dante's Inferno and more, the DMV.
Right.
Or a courthouse.
Right.
The ruler is Hades, obviously, but he's not the one judging you. He's the CEO. He's in the back office handling the macro logistics of it all. He doesn't have time to interview every single soul that comes down on the elevator.
So who does? You show up, you're dead, you're probably very confused. Who determines your eternity?
You have to face the judges of the dead. It's a tribunal, and it consists of 3 former mortal kings, Minos, Rhadamanthus, and Aeacus.
Wait. Former mortals. So the people who are deciding your eternal fate are actually just dead guys themselves.
Dead guys who are known for their exceptional lawmaking or their judgment when they were alive. And this is so important because it means the judgment is based on civil concepts, not just divine whim. It's a legal proceeding.
This is a key distinction I really want to drill. In a lot of religions, the afterlife is all about faith. Did you believe the right things? Did you pray to the right God? But here, the judges don't seem to care who you prayed.
Not at all. It's a meritocracy of deeds. The judges look at your entire life as a ledger. What did you do? Did you help people? Did you hurt people? It is not a vibe check.
It's an audit.
It's an audit. That's the perfect word. And based on the results of that audit, they sort you into one of 3 main destinations.
Okay, let's walk through the options. And let's start with the most common one. The place where, statistically, most of us listening right now would probably end up, the fields of Asphodel.
Asphodel.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to describe it in a color, it would just be gray.
The descriptions in the books make it sound so incredibly depressing, but not painful.
No, there's no pain. There's no fire. It's just nothing.
Yeah.
It's this vast, endless field of swaying black poplar trees and gray grass. The souls there aren't suffering, but they're not happy either. They're just existing.
It's the waiting room that never, ever ends.
That's a perfect description of it. Asphodel is for the people who didn't do anything specifically evil, but they also didn't do anything notably good. They just lived small, self-contained lives. They weren't heroes. They weren't villains. They were just there.
See, to me, that is almost scarier than actual torture.
How so?
Because you lose yourself. Percy describes the souls there as just like chittering like bats, wandering around aimlessly, forgetting who they even were. It's an eternity of boredom that leads to you just fading away.
Is the death of your identity. And the tragedy is that even some genuinely good people end up there because of how complex the system. We have to talk about Hazel Levesque here.
Oh man, Hazel's story makes me so angry at this whole system. For those who need a quick refresher, Hazel's one of the main characters in the Heroes of Olympus series. She's a daughter of Pluto.
Right.
She's objectively a hero. She saved the world. She should have a VIP ticket straight to the good place. But she ends up in Asphodel. Why?
It's a classic example of a supernatural plea bargain. Hazel's mother, Mary, she was complicated. She was manipulated by Gaia, the earth goddess, but she was also deeply driven by greed. She did some terrible things that endangered the entire world.
Okay.
So Mary was destined for the fields of punishment, for eternal torture.
But Hazel steps in.
Right. Hazel died trying to stop a catastrophe her mother helped start. So when they both got to the judges, Hazel had a choice. She could have gone to paradise, to Elysium, but she refused to let her mother be tortured. She pleaded for mercy.
So the judges cut a deal with her.
They did. They basically said, okay, we won't send your mother to the bad place, but she certainly doesn't deserve the good place. So she goes to Asphodel. And if you want to be with her, you have to go to Asphodel too.
That is just heartbreaking. Hazel sacrificed her own eternal reward just to save her mother from pain. She accepted mediocrity for eternity just to protect.
Which is, ironically, the ultimate heroic act of love. You could argue that that act alone should have qualified her for the highest honors.
Yeah.
But the bureaucracy is rigid. You accept the plea deal. You serve the sentence.
Okay, so that's the gray middle ground. Now, let's go downstairs. The fields of punishment. This is the hell equivalent.
This is for the truly wicked. And I don't mean people who, cut you off in traffic. I mean murderers, traitors, people who fundamentally broke the moral code or directly insulted the gods.
And the punishments aren't generic, are they? It's not just burn in a lake of fire. It's highly personalized.
It's all about ironic punishment. The punishment has to fit the crime. The most famous example, which actually appears in the lore on the show, is Tantalus.
I remember him. He's the guy who's always standing in the water.
Tantalus is the archetype for don't offend the god. His crime was absolutely grotesque. He killed his own son, chopped him up, and cooked him into a stew to serve to the gods at a banquet.
Why?
He wanted to see if they were actually all-knowing, if they would even notice.
Which I mean, talk about hubris and just being a completely sick individual.
Indeed. So his punishment is eternal desire without any satisfaction. He stands in a pool of cool, fresh water. Above his head is a branch of delicious, ripe fruit, but he is parched.
And he can never...
Every time he bends down to drink, the water will ground. Every time he reaches up for a grape, the wind blows the branch just out of his reach.
It's psychological warfare. It's not just the pain. It's the constant frustration of almost having what you desperately forever.
Exactly. And that is the central theme of the Fields of Punishment. It forces you to relive your own nature, but in a way that denies you the thing you want most.
Now, hold on. Because while the Fields of Punishment are bad, really bad, they're still part of the, let's call it the civilized underworld. There is a basement, a place that even the monsters are afraid of, Tartarus.
Now we are leaving the realm of the afterlife and we're entering cosmic horror. Tartarus isn't just a place, it's a pit so deep that if you dropped an anvil from the surface of the earth, it would fall for 9 days before it hit the bottom.
Wow.
But the most disturbing part, Tartarus is a person, or rather, a deity.
That concept always messes with my head. The ground is his skin. How does that work?
The ground is his skin, the air is his breath, and the air is toxic. If a mortal even breathes the air in Tartarus, they die. It's acidic. It creates blisters on your skin. The environment itself is actively trying to digest you.
So it's basically the stomach of a dark god.
That is a very accurate and very disturbing way to...
Yes.
This is where the Titans were imprisoned after the First War. This is where monsters go when they die on Earth. They reform down in Tartarus. It is a lawless, chaotic free-for-all where everything is hostile.
And escaping. I know Percy and Annabeth did it in House of Hades, but that was treated like an absolute miracle.
It was a statistical anomaly, a 1 in a billion shot. And notice, they didn't do it alone. They only survived because they had help from Damison, who was a giant, and Bob, the Titan Iapetus.
Bob! I still get emotional just thinking about Bob. Tell the sun and stars hello for me.
It's a crushing line, but it proves the point. You don't just walk out of Tartarus on your own. Bob and Damison had to sacrifice themselves. They had to stay behind to hold the button, so to speak, so that Percy and Annabeth could escape. The gravity of Tartarus, both physical and metaphysical, is designed to keep things in.
Okay, let's climb out of that pit before we both get depressed. Let's talk about let's say you survive the scent of puberty, you navigate the wars, you die a hero, and you pass the audit with the judge. You get Elysium.
Hero's paradise. And honestly, Riordan's description of this place is fast because it's so modern.
It's not harp music and floating on clouds.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
It's described as a beautiful gated community. Grass is emerald and, rainbow colored. The flowers are silver and gold. But the vibe is Las Vegas meets Disneyland.
Which implies it's designed for pure pleasure. It's an eternity of doing whatever you loved doing.
Precisely. If you loved being a warrior, you can go spar with Achilles. If you loved music, you can have a jam session with Orpheus. There are all these neighborhoods with ancient Roman villas right next to the Victorian mansions. It's this eclectic mix of history's greatest hits.
Okay, but let's look at the guest list, because this is where I start to have some questions about the Okay, so you have the obvious hero. Charles Beckendorf, for those who don't remember, he was the head counselor for the Hephaestus cabin. He basically strapped a bomb to himself to blow up the bad guy's ship.
Clear-cut hero.
Clear-cut, no argument, he's in. But then you have someone like Selena Beauregard. Now, Selena was a daughter of Aphrodite. She was a spy for Kronos.
She was.
She gave information to the Titans that got people killed. She was a traitor for like 9% of the war. But she's in Elysium. How?
This is where the ancient Greek definition of morality really clashes with our modern one. The Greeks placed a huge emphasis on the manner of your death.
The good death.
Exactly. Selena was manipulated, yes. She made terrible choices out of fear and a misplaced sense of love. But in the final battle for Manhattan, she disguised herself, she led the Ares cabin into the fight, and she charged a draken, this giant serpent monster, single-handedly. She died saving her friend.
So the system says that one final epic act of bravery just wipes out years of betrayal.
In the eyes of the judges, yes. It seems that redemption is always on the table if you're willing to pay the ultimate price for it. She balanced the ledger at the very last second.
That feels generous. I mean, if I'm a camper who died because of her bad intel, and then I get to the afterlife and see her chillin' in a villa in Elysium, I might be a little ticked off.
That's a fair reaction, but if you think that's controversial, we have to look at Luke Cast.
The big bad, the arch traitor, the guy who literally let the Titan Lord Kronos possess his body and try to tear down Western civilization.
And yet he is in Elysium.
Ow! Just how is that possible?
It's the Darth Vader ending. You could be the main villain for 3 movies, but if you throw the Emperor down the reactor shafts in the last 5 minutes, you get to be a Force ghost.
Oh.
Luke fought Kronos from the inside. He realized the horrible mistake he'd made. And in the end, He stabbed himself in his one mortal spot to destroy the Titan and save Olympus.
He committed suicide to save the world from his own mass.
Yes, and the fates themselves came down to collect his body. His father, Hermes, blessed. The system decided that saving the world counts for more than almost destroying it.
So it suggests that the underworld really values impact. It's about the magnitude of the deed. Luke's final sacrifice was so monumental that it completely eclipsed his crimes. That's a really heavy philosophical stance.
It is. It suggests that ultimately no one is irredeemable.
Okay, so you finally made it. You're in Elysium. You're sitting by a lake, eating BBQ that never runs out. You've reached the finish line. Why in the world would you ever leave?
The human condition. Even in paradise, we get rest. Or maybe, just maybe, we crave something even higher. This brings us to the ultimate and maybe the strangest mechanic of the after.
Rebirth, the new Game Plus mode.
Effectively, yes. If you are in Elysium, you are given a choice. You can stay there forever in paradise. Or you can choose to be reborn. You go back to the mortal world as a baby.
But there's a catch, a huge one.
You have to drink from the river Lethe. And when you do, you lose your memory. You forget who you were. You forget your victories, your lessons, your friends, your family. You start from zero.
So why do it? Why would anyone do that? What's the prize?
The Isles of the Blessed. This is the VIP section of paradise. It's located right in the center of Elysium. To get there, you have to achieve Elysium 3 separate times in 3 separate lives.
That seems statistically impossible. You have to be a hero, die, forget everything, be born again in a totally different time and place, somehow manage to become a hero again without knowing how you did it the first time, die, and then do it a third time.
It is the ultimate gamble. You are betting that your soul is inherently good. You're betting that no matter what circumstances you are born into, you will always, always choose the path of heroism.
That sounds like an insane level of arrogance. Or maybe it's just an addiction to the struggle itself.
Or perhaps it's a desire for true purification. Think about Luke Castellan again. He died a hero, technically, but he carried so much trauma, so much guilt. He told Annabeth as he was dying that he was going to try for the Isles of the Blessed.
He wanted a do-over.
He wanted a clean slate. He didn't want to just rest on his laurels. He wanted to prove, maybe to himself, that he could do it right from the beginning.
Then you have someone like Bianca D'Angelo, Nico's sister. She made it to Elysium. She was safe, but she could see that her brother was in the living world. And as a ghost, she couldn't help it. So she chose rebirth.
But that's the beautiful tragedy of it. By choosing rebirth to help him or to move on, she forgot it. She forgot the very person she was so worried about.
This is the part of it that really... If you wipe your memory, are you even you anymore? If I do this 3-peat challenge, the person who finally reaches the Isles of the Blessed, it's just some version of my soul. I, the person with my memory.
That is the ship of Theseus paradox applied directly to the soul. Is the continuity of your memory necessary for your identity? The underworld seems to say no. It says your essence is what matters. But I agree with you. From a human perspective, it feels a lot like suicide. You are killing your current self for the chance of a better future self.
It's fascinating that the highest possible reward in this entire universe requires you to give up the one thing you fought your whole life to preserve your story.
It frames heroism as something you are, not just something you did. If you are truly a hero, you'll be a hero in ancient Greece, you'll be a hero in 1940s New York, and you'll be a hero in 2026.
So bringing this all together, we've gone from the biological unfairness of, smelling like monster bait, to the legal proceedings of the judges, all the way to the rainbow fields of Elysium. What is the big takeaway?
I think the key takeaway is that this universe respects act. It is not a universe that rewards passive good. You can't just sit in your room and be a nice person and expect to get to the Isles of the Blessed. You have to engage, you have to fight. And even if you stumble, like Selena, like Luke, as long as you act decisively in the end, there's always hope.
It's a universe that demands participation.
Exactly.
So I want to leave you, the listener, with a thought experiment. We've been talking about that button, the rebirth button.
The ultimate reset.
Imagine you've lived a life that was hard enough to get you into Elysium, fought the wars, you lost friends, you have the scars to prove it, but you made it. You are safe. You're surrounded by people who know you and respect your story.
You have earned your rest.
Would you really give all that up? Would you voluntarily dip your head in that river, wash away every memory of your mother, your first love, your greatest victory, just to roll the dice on getting a VIP upgrade?
Is that bravery, or is that the ultimate hubris to think you can beat the house 3 times in a row?
I think I'd stay in the villa, but that's...
I think most of us would. And perhaps that's why the Isles of the Blessed are so empty.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you in the next one.